Hi, Detroit. It's your girl, Tina, with Spectacle Society, and I am just thrilled to be here interviewing Jens from Nine Eyewear. Hi, Jens. How are you today?
Hi, Tina. I'm good. How are you doing?
Very good. Now, Detroit, we haven't talked about it yet. This is sort of like the real exciting reveal, but Nine is actually going to be at Spectacle Society only in Detroit. We're one of only 2 places in Michigan that carry this line, and I can't wait for you to learn about what makes it so incredible. So Jens actually one of the founders and the designer of Nine Eyewear. So so excited to have you here. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how this company got started. It started a little over a decade ago, right?
Well, 10 years ago, actually. Last year at Silmo, we celebrated our 9th year of Nine Eyewear.
Wow.
We figured that would be a bit fun instead of waiting for the 10th year. And considering the COVID situation, actually, it was a good move, a good choice for us.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So how did this company come about? You were one of the founders. What was the brainchild behind it?
Well, actually, I started working for an American company, actually. For more than 17 years, I worked as a European distributor of a company based in Los Angeles. Okay. And they sold Japanese-produced products, very high-end exclusive products. And that was actually my entrance to the optical scene. Selling their products, basically it was at the beginning in Denmark, then it was in Scandinavia, and later on we took over all of Europe as a distributor. I kind of grew into the world of high-end optical products. I'm not an optician myself. I came from a trade school, and I've been selling their products for such a long time and enjoyed the quality and the uniqueness of Japanese designs. I have to say, though, that sometimes, especially in Europe, we missed some more European designs. There is, I wouldn't say that it's unique, but there is a significance to European products compared with American products and Asian products. And sometimes I was looking at some products that I felt was fantastically made, really beautiful, but I just needed to alter a few things. When talking to the American designer about this, at one point he said, well, why don't you try do something on your own then? It wasn't really a move that I was looking into, but at the end I was figuring, why not try it? Why not try to make like a small line next to the other line? Which we did, and that was in 2009. Yeah. And it's not like there was any big split between the American company that I work for and Nine Eyewear that I founded a year later, because we're still very good friends and still work together. That's good. But they kind of closed their company later on. And yeah, that was the beginning of Nine Eyewear. The idea to make something European. But then also we added this thing that we really felt was missing in the market, because I only knew of titanium product since it was a company that produced titanium products and only from Japan. Right. So I knew a lot about the difference between Chinese-made products and European-made products and Japanese-made products, because for some reason Japanese products was always the most expensive. But then again, when I looked at it, I sometimes I felt they kind of overdid it a bit, because I needed something more sleek, something more clean, and a bit minimalistic probably, because we are a Danish company and we do emphasize on clean designs. But I really loved the way that they made the products. So that was kind of the starting point was to find something, find a way to do the same kind of quality, but in a more Scandinavian, with a more Scandinavian approach.
Sure. Well, and I love that the whole company, like, one, you noticed that you needed a little bit of a different flair, but I love that it kind of started on a challenge too. Like, well, you don't see it, why don't you make it? Like, that's amazing. And
exactly.
mantle and ran with it. That's pretty impressive, Jens.
Yeah, well, actually, I've been talking to a lot of people who's been asking, well, how do you come up with ideas? It must be tough to find new ideas, but actually that's not the big issue, because there are so many good ideas, so much beautiful product out there, and so many new materials that you can always work with. I would say the biggest challenge we have, if we have challenges, is to find the right people to work with.
Sure.
Because we have a lot of ideas that we want to do.
Yeah.
In our DNA, we have placed titanium. Titanium is our main product because we want to make things that are lightweight and flexible.
Yeah.
The main reason for Nine Eyewear is to make something that pleases people to wear them. We want something that makes people look beautiful. We don't want to make a product that kind of creates a new personality.
Sure.
It should be something that emphasizes the personality that the user have already.
Absolutely. I love
it
that.
It doesn't have to be something that people don't see. It should be a product. Actually, we've had customers saying that sometimes if they were used to wearing a rimless frame, mm-hmm. They walk into the optician and they look at the optician wearing a beautiful, big, chunky plastic frame or a beautiful metal frame, and they say, oh, I want to try this new look instead of having the old, more anonymous look. But whenever they put the frame on, they're going to be, oh, no, this is too stiff, this is too heavy, it leaves marks on my nose. Right. And many times they actually end up using, walking out of the store again with the same kind of product as what they used to have already, because this is what they have gotten used to wearing almost nothing.
Right.
But they don't really get value for what they wanted, because they wanted to change the look. They wanted something new, and they basically got the same thing again. So this is kind of the gap that we wanted to fill. We wanted to fill something where people get something that they get a beautiful frame. It should be high-end, should be well-made, but it should also be something that makes kind of a difference if they want that.
I love that.
So we
one of the things that I love
between more anonymous product to a product that.
Oh, there we go.
I think I kind of lost you there.
Yeah, sorry, there was a little connection lag, I think. Yeah. But one of the things that I wanted to mention was that Nine Eyewear is probably some of the lightest eyewear I've ever held in my hands. Like, it is so incredibly lightweight. And you guys have a multitude of collections underneath Nine Eyewear. And so in the store, in Spectacle Society, we have 3 of them. And I want to talk a little bit about the differences between them, because no matter which one a client is attracted to, no matter what sort of style they want, they're still going to be getting this incredibly lightweight piece to put on. And like you had mentioned, somebody who maybe has been wearing a rimless, which is, a frame, for those people who don't know, it's a set of lenses that don't have a frame around it, right? That just have sort of a bridge connection and some temples. And those are traditionally very lightweight, but if somebody wants that, Nine has that in the 5 collection, right? But if somebody wants acetate frame and has been wearing that, going to something that is heavier, like a traditional acetate, can be really challenging. And you guys address that as well with Origin. So I'd love to talk a little bit about the materials used for Origin, for 5, and for Edge, which are the 3 collections we have in the store.
Well, to start with Edge collection is made from titanium completely. Well, normally when we have temple tips, the temple tips are made from acetate, but even that we consider being not really too heavy, but we needed more flexible temples, because again, we wanted something that you don't really feel when you wear it. And sometimes it's a matter of small, thin temples can also be very unflexible. I'm looking for a word. We needed flexibility. Right. So we used a special type of titanium called beta titanium, Beta titanium is an alloy made with 97% of titanium, and there's another material in it which makes it more flexible. I don't know if people can see the temple that I have right here, but you can actually bend it like this,
Yes.
and it is really flexible. And instead of using acetate on this, we used a thin rubber sleeve made from natural rubber, making it a little sticky to the cheekbones also, and around the ears, so it doesn't really fall off. You can shake your head. You can, I'm pretty sure you can do gymnastics with it.
I'm going to take your word on that.
Stays in place, which is a real benefit.
Yeah.
The Edge collection, going back to that one, is made almost completely out of beta titanium, because the front piece is also made of titanium, beta titanium. The reason for that is that we needed a flexible material also for the front. The Edge collection is made with an inline system where you need to make a groove in the lens that the sheet, which the front is made from, fits into. The front is laser cut in a special machine in Japan where they cut it by laser. And then it kind of closes around the two lenses. So a very simple system with temples that actually cover the hinges so nothing can be seen from the front. Very clean and elegant.
Yep, absolutely. And one of the things that I love too is there are so many larger size options in Edge, which I absolutely adore. I mean, you've got stuff that's going to fit a variety of faces, but we have some really great bigger pieces from the Edge collection. I absolutely love. Just so modern and clean. And a lot of times in bigger frames, people who fit in those get less of an option. And I love that we've got some beautiful, clean, modern pieces for everybody.
Exactly. We have a lot of people also with bigger heads that really want something which is cool. They don't want to look like a librarian or something else. They want to look cool. And sometimes, those people, they have less options. And when we have a cool design, many times we consider, why don't we make this in a bigger eye shape as well? Because it's going to fit a lot of those people. We need to listen to our customers as well, Tina, because we cannot just make something which we believe is good, but then there's a lot of people out there who want to wear something like that, but just isn't available in their size.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love that you listen because there are lots of us who are like, God, we wish this would, come to us. We have so many clients we want to fit in these things, right? So many people who love the idea, but maybe can't make it work, right? So I love that you guys listen. So Edge is amazing. It's one of my favorites. It's what attracted me to Nine Eyewear from the start. And I've followed you guys for years. So let's talk a little bit about Origin, because I was when I saw Origin, I was really just so excited about it. There's lots of different acetate lines out there, but Origin is special. So I'd love to hear a little bit about the materials that go into it and the concept behind it.
The thing about acetate is that acetate can be found in so many different shapes and types. Most of the acetate collections that you see out there are made from two major plants in Italy, making beautiful colors of acetate. And they sell to almost the entire industry. We don't buy from them. What we did was we went to our Japanese producer and we found a Japanese producer of acetate. The thing about Japanese acetate is that, like many things in Japan, it's a product that takes time. They dry their acetate for a lot longer, and the density in the material is completely different than that of the European acetate. It's quite easy to see, actually, because when we have the sheets of acetate lying in our office, we can see that over the time, instead of being flat, they tend to bend like this if it's a European acetate, and if it's a Japanese, it stays flat.
Wow.
It's quite fun to see, actually. And this is why also we can work with acetate from thinner sheets and still have a good product that doesn't change shape over the time. Sometimes with European acetate, you need to have more chunkier pieces, which we found from the beginning was the reason why we couldn't use acetate from our collection, because again, we had been out there saying that it was in our DNA that all Nine Eyewear frames should be around 9 grams, which is a great thing to say. But then again, it's also a big limit for us because
Sure.
limitation that we cannot work with all kinds of materials. But then we figured out that there's this small plant in Fukui in Japan where we could go to and we could find some very not really playful colors of acetate, because they don't do that, because it's not in their mentality. It's traditional Japanese acetate, which I personally love, because this is the kind of personality that I am.
Sure.
I care more for the classic virtues and the classic colors and shapes, which was also the reason why we named this collection Origin, because it should be made in a more traditional way. It shouldn't be laser cut. It shouldn't be 3D printing. It should be made in the way that the traditional Japanese optical frames were made. So that means an acetate front made from a good quality acetate. But compared with other acetate collections also, it should have nose pads, because nose pads is a significant part of our collection. It's a small thing that makes the frame fit perfectly in the face. And obviously you cannot have it with a very heavy frame, but with a lightweight frame like ours, it fits perfectly well to have nose pads as well.
And it makes a world of difference.
Still have our flexible, very thin beta titanium temples, making it easy to wear. And
I will say that the nose pads were a huge pull for me, because I have seen so many clients who, you know, would love an acetate frame, but it just doesn't fit their bridge. It doesn't fit their nose. Exactly. It doesn't quite work with their cheeks. I mean, it hits, and every time they smile, it raises up. Like, it's just not the fit. And so, one, that Origin is so lightweight based on the materials that you do use, the Japanese acetate as well as the beta titanium, but two, that it has the nose pads that we can perfectly adjust to sit amazingly on people. And it's not going to dig in because the weight of the frame is so light. It just opens up an acetate frame to so many people who couldn't wear them before. And they're beautiful. And again, I know, you know, you talked about, you know, really having that kind of classic aesthetic, and they do. And you've got some beautiful, rich colors. And classic, I want to be clear, like, doesn't necessarily mean, you know, like just black and tortoise. You guys have incredible, beautiful colors within Origin that the minute I saw them, I flipped over them. I was so excited. So, it's just a beautiful line. I can't wait for Detroiters to try it on, because once you put it on your face, you're just floored about how light and incredible they are.
True. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about was 5, because that's the other collection we have in the store. And this is more of a traditional rimless with no frame around it collection. But let's talk a little bit about that as well.
Well, the funny thing about the 5 collection is it was actually a rimless collection was actually the reason why we started Nine Eyewear frames, because we wanted to make something that had the advantages of a rimless frame, but wasn't a rimless frame.
Right.
And then years later on, we actually make a rimless frame, which was kind of fun, because we had a lot of customers using selling our collection very well, and sometimes they ask us, why don't you do rimless? Because your collection is actually perfect for rimless. And we were like, well, we wanted to make something which was more visible than a rimless frame. It shouldn't be all anonymous. Having thought about that, we felt, if we do a rimless collection, it should be a Nine Eyewear rimless collection. It shouldn't be just any other rimless collection. It should be visible. It should create something. It should have the signature temples that we have with the rubber sleeves. And again, it should be something also from the front, though in a rimless frame, you barely don't have anything. You know, typically you only have the 2 lenses, but still there should be something which you could see also. So we made the Rimless Collection 5 a couple of years ago, and it's really been a good part of our standard collection ever since. It's kind of completes our collection. that we have rimless as well, because we have acetate, we have titanium, and we have the rimless collection as well.
Yeah. It really does. And those, if I recall correctly, are they named because their weight is even less than 9 grams, right? It's
well, it was kind of fun because we felt that we needed to have a cool name for the collection, and then we put it on a scale, and we figured out that the weight is 4.6 or 4.7 grams. And plus also the collection is made from 5 different pieces.
I love that.
Which is why and it was our collection number 5. So
yes. Oh
the only
God.
obvious name for the collection would be 9-5.
Oh my God, that is like 5 was the magic number, definitely.
It really was.
That's amazing. Well, I have to say, I love the versatility in the collections in Nine, but I love that they all stay true to the initial concept of design, right? That lightweight, that really beautiful classic kind of a feel. It's really got a modern edge to it with gorgeous classic materials and colors, and I just absolutely adore it. And I can't wait for Detroit to fall in love with it as well.
Thank you.
So tell me, Jens, what are you guys working on? You guys seem to always be adding a little something, right? So what's coming down the pike with design? Are we, adding new colors or shapes, or what's happening with Nine going forward?
Well, we have lots of possibilities, and I would say both in terms of shapes and in terms of colors, we have been working a lot, especially with titanium frames, because in titanium you have so many possibilities with colors. We can use Scandinavian colors, we can use more subtle colors, we can use more brighter colors. Again, a Nine Eyewear frame will always be a Nine Eyewear frame. We do have some orange colors. We have some sharp green colors that we find beautiful, especially for people with the red hair to have a beautiful green frame. Looks amazing.
God, yes.
But still, it always have to stay true to our original DNA. In titanium, we're working on the IBT collection also, which is a collection that you still haven't seen. That is a collection that is made from a technique called block titanium. Block titanium is compared with the other collection, it's not laser cut, it's actually stamped out of a block of titanium. Okay. And there are different ways to make this, but we figured that there was a way in Japan that they can only make out there, where they compress these titanium plates with, I think it's 6.5 tons of weight, to make it possible to make a hidden hinge inside the rim, inside the actual rim of the frame, which is a beautiful thing. So we're working on many different techniques to make the actual optical frame even less complicated. I think that is the most, sometimes you can make things complicated in order to make it look less complicated, because we need to remove all these small, tiny little things that doesn't really look good. I think that's one of the main things that we're looking at.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that you're constantly trying to innovate, right? Like, I think that's important, knowing that, we're taking these core, like the core DNA strands of the company, right? And applying them going forward, but really wanting to make sure that you're upping your game each time, right? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to briefly mention, there are a few pieces, I know I have a few in the store, that have sort of a precious metal coated on them as well, right? So I believe I have a few pieces that have a ruthenium coating, a palladium coating, and a gold coating. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Well, the metal coatings were something that we didn't look into at the very beginning, because we actually felt that it would be too expensive for our line to work with precious metals.
Sure.
Also because we need to have titanium in the core of our frames because of the flexibility that titanium provides.
Yeah.
Then later on, we figured that there was a possibility to use a combination between the titanium and palladium, ruthenium, and real gold as well. Yeah. It is expensive, but it just adds this little extra to it. We call it Nine Limited. The limited collection limited edition, if you will, is something a little out of the ordinary from our other frames in the collection. It's not where we make a living, because actually it's too expensive for us to make it. But we felt that if we could at least charge a little extra, we can make something that really makes the frame stand out and makes us even more proud.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's just beautifully applied. I will say it doesn't overtake the frame, right? It's like this beautiful hint of something extra special, which I absolutely love. And again, that fits straight into your concept of design. I just absolutely loved it. When I got them in my hands, I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. Like I looked at it online, but it's hard to tell and gauge from pictures online, like what it's going to be like until it gets in your hand. Oh, yeah. And then I held it and I was like, oh yeah, that's the stuff right there. That's beautiful. And again,
kind of obvious when you have it in your hand.
Yes, it makes all the difference in the world. And I really, and in all honesty, I know they're expensive to produce, but they're not that much more expensive when we're talking in terms of things. So I love that people can have a little bit of that luxury in there for just a little bit more. And it's just gorgeous. I mean, it's something just a little special, So the limited.
Well, actually, we have been selling more from the limited edition collection than we ever figured that we would, because, well, we're humble Danish people, and we didn't figure that we could actually charge something which we felt was a lot of money for a product like this, because we felt, oh, well, it's probably going to be too expensive. Nobody's going to buy it. But then again, when people looked at it, they're like, well, that's not a problem, because we know what we get for it, and
the quality.
That's how it should be always. I personally feel good about buying a high-end product if I know that what I buy is actually a product which is made in a way which corresponds to the price that I pay for it. Yes. Sometimes a less expensive product can be considered too expensive because it's just not worth the money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I talk a lot about, big box companies, and I'm not going to name names, that's not my style, but, big box companies who charge an arm and a leg for a designer name are an inferior product. So people are paying, what you would pay for a Nine Eyewear piece for these products that are just not going to hold up, that aren't necessarily designed with, an ergonomic fit in mind. They're just kind of slapped on there, and they're paying for this name on their glasses, for that same dollar amount, you can have something that is like handcrafted and beautiful, and that you guys do and put all the time and energy and effort and do these, create these amazing pieces that have completely superior product and quality of materials to them, right? And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think when people really understand the value behind the handcrafted nature, the intentional design, and the materials and why they're so important, it makes the price point not nearly as expensive as people think, right? And in all honesty, it is comparable to a lot of things that are far lesser quality.
Well, we don't have this little silk screen name on it on the temple with the brand name of the designer, which is something that they have the license for 2 years and then it moves on to a different factory. We don't have that, thank God, because we don't care for it.
Yeah.
So that's the
big. Well, and in all honesty,
on actual production cost, making something a little more beautiful.
Yes, exactly. And in all honesty, like, I would rather put my money into something that is handcrafted and designed with intention and thought than, paying for that label that somebody licensed. And in all honesty, one of the joys of not having that label is that the eyewear is not necessarily screaming who it's about. It just is it is just like spending its time helping you project who you are, right? Necessarily saying, oh, this is this designer or that designer, what have you. It's eyewear that complements you.
Exactly. That's how it should be.
Yes,
always.
I wholeheartedly agree. It's part of why Nine Eyewear is part of the collection at Spectacle Society. I am over the moon to be able to share it with Detroiters. So Jens, thank you so much for taking the time to talk today. I really appreciate it, and I think Detroit, once you guys get in and try on Nine, you are going to be converted. It is an incredible line with multiple options within the collection. So Jens, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Tina. And I have to say also, we are proud and honored to be part of your beautiful store as well.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And don't
Wish you all the best of luck.
Oh, thank you so much. And Detroiters, don't forget to book your appointment at spectaclesocietydetroit.com, and we'll look forward to seeing you and putting you in some Nine Eyewear soon. Thanks.
Thank you.